It's time for another Bedlam Buds, and this time it's real Bedlam from the Boomer Sumer side. Let me just start this again. Well, it's about that time for Bedlam Buds, and today we have a special treat for you because there was actual bedlam that happened today, and we've talked about this. Let's first introduce ourselves. I am Ryan, Boomer Sooner, and this is my buddy Jeremy.
Go Pokes.
Go Pokes, loyal and true, even in a loss, and that's what happened today.
But who called it and who almost called the exact score?
Did you?
I said that OU would win it by 8 because of how the game was evolving when the first half, and it ended up being 9. And
you absolutely did.
You could just feel the flow of the game. It was just going to be one of those where Oklahoma State was good enough to catch up, but not good enough to stay up. And that's kind of how it played out today.
Well, that's it. OU, Oklahoma wins 85-76. I'm in a haze. I'm all stopped up. I took a Sudafed, Jeremy, so I could barely sit on the couch. I just wanted to move around and do something while I was watching the game. And by the way,
you wanted to go shoot hoops like we used to.
Oh yeah, and I've seen video of that. It's of my brothers and I shooting hoops out in the front. It looks really terrible. It looks like 3 old men. But I wanted to move around because this had all the makings visually watching on TV of Eddie and Kelvin. We were talking about that via text during the game, but let's get everybody caught up on what happened today. Oklahoma wins 85-76 for the Paycom Center. It was OSU's first loss. It was OU's first really good win. I mean, they beat Marquette, and that was good, but to defeat an undefeated Oklahoma State team on a neutral court, I thought was fantastic. OU improves to 7-3. OSU falls to 9-1. Looking through the box score here, the Sooners were paced by Xavier Brown, but I will tell you, Xavier had 21 points, but that offense goes through Nigel Pack. Nigel Pack, he should be British. He's Nigel. It's raw.
He should be British, 100%.
He should 100%. He's from Indianapolis, but OU just really, really good ball movement, really good passing, really good shooting, and this is a team that's going to depend on the outside shot. The Oklahoma State Cowboys, on the other hand, were paced in terms of starters. Kanye Clary had a fantastic second half. Yeah. Anthony Roy, you can tell he came from Green Bay. Is Green Bay just going to be a farm system for OSU now with Doug Gottlieb up there?
I hope. If we get players like Roy, I absolutely hope so, because that kid can hoop.
He's going to play in the NBA. And I saw he is phenomenal. But I would tell you, in the second half, a true basketball fan had to be smitten with Christian Coleman. He was fantastic off the bench. I mean, Clary, the way he would feed him down low, and it just was he was just the Energizer bunny out there. And it started out, OU got the lead through the first half, led, and then OSU took over midway through the second half, and then OU took over. What were your overall thoughts of the game?
Well, my overall thoughts were the game where OU won because they hit timely 3-point shots. They had a much better 3-point percentage, hit 4 or 5 more 3-point shots. That's the difference in the game, and it was the timeliness of them. There was one series I believe in the first half where Oklahoma State took about 10 shots on one possession, kept getting the rebound, missing a shot, kept getting the rebound, missing a shot. And then OU went down after no points given. OU went down and hit a 3. And that's right there is when I sent that text, and I said, okay, here's how this game's going to go. And it's exactly how it went. Both teams hustled. Both teams are throwing their bodies on the ground, going for the ball. It was absolutely a classic Eddie versus Kelvin matchup with lots of defense and, again, lots of bodies and lots of physicality in there. Nothing over the top, though. Too much over the top. There's 1 or 2 little things, but
Wagi, he was a little over the top.
Yeah. Again, this isn't the Pistons, so you can't be throwing elbows into people's throats. But in Oklahoma State's lack of proficiency from distance shots, not just 3-pointers, but from distance. OU outshot them in regular percentage wise and on 3-point percentage wise. And you're not going to end up winning a game like this where teams are playing tough defense when you can't shoot the ball, when you're missing wide open looks. And that's what happened to Oklahoma State today. Oklahoma was just a better team. They were more efficient and they took advantage of their opportunities. When Oklahoma State had a chance in the second half to build upon a lead, got I think a 2-point lead at one point, had the ball and just kind of stumbled around, and OU went on an 11-0 run. And you can't afford to do that. You've got to take advantage of your opportunities when you're playing a quality team. And that's what Oklahoma did today that Oklahoma State did not.
One observation as an OU fan and a Porter Moser apologist. I've been a fan of his for a while. He basically gets a new class every year. That's the way the transfer portal works. But they looked very well coached today. He's always preached defense turns into offense. And the transition game for the Sooners was fantastic. The passing was crisp and creative. The smaller guys like Nigel Pack and Dayton Forsyth were able to figure out their angles to get the ball down low to Davis and to Wagi. And the offense just looked really good. Now, it's one of those things that the Sooners are going to be at the mercy of how their shooting is. If they're not hitting those shots from the outside, and some of those shots that Nigel Pack was hitting with the height on it reminded me a lot of Trae Young. It was like, he's not as good. It's hard to be as good a shooter as Trae Young,
Sure.
unless you're Steph Curry or something. But it was just really, really good shooting from the Sooners. And from an entertainment perspective, I watch a lot of NBA. It's hard not to be entertained nightly by the Oklahoma City Thunder. This was an entertaining college basketball game, no matter who you root for.
Oh, no, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're a neutral fan, that was a fun game to watch. And I mean, because there was a lot of action there. Again, bodies were falling on the floor, diving out of bounds, hitting some of those dagger 3-pointers from distance. I mean, it had a lot of that kind of drama. And I'm not sure why OU fans would be down on Mosier because he's a terrific coach. And this is one of the few games this year that our coaching staff has been matched. Oklahoma State's coaching staff was matched today. I don't think that they were outcoached by any stretch, but I think that Mosier put his guys into the right spots, and then they hit the shots that Oklahoma State did not. But this is one of the few games so far this season where you could look at it and go, "Wow, that was a pretty good coaching matchup back and forth, trying to respond to each other." And you don't always get that in these early to mid-season games. But I thought it was a great coaching matchup that Lutz did well. But again, they just didn't hit those shots when OU hit those dagger shots, and that was what the difference was. But to me, that's quality coaching by OU as well, because no one's matched Oklahoma State so far this year in this department. No, you absolutely did that.
Right. I think when it comes to Moser, a lot of the people who had been down on him had really looked at those second, third, and fourth years. We got to the tournament last year, played Connecticut, and lost in the first round. But there some of the seasons, especially the last couple of the Big 12, just didn't make the tournament. We didn't even go to the NIT one year. Just we're kind of down on it because we would have great starts to the season and then we would fade out. And it seemed to be the pattern. However, what I saw today was great coaching on the court. And what I saw in the early parts of these different seasons were situations where Moser was doing a great job of coaching. Each year having to deal with a whole new team. This is what the transfer portal has brought college basketball, is that it's basically like being a teacher in real life. You don't have the same third graders every year. You got a brand new class, and it's brand new dynamics, brand new levels of talent, and he's optimizing what he has. And I think he's really found his place here. It helps that I've actually gotten to see him talk and teach outside the classroom. I got to go with my wife to an event with her work where he talked about the season a couple of years ago. And I just love his enthusiasm. I love his positivity. And I love that he's essentially a teacher at heart. Now, it helps that we shot really well today.
Ultimately, you got to put the brown thing in the round thing, to quote Kelvin Sampson. The brown thing and the round thing, and that's ultimately what it comes down to. Yeah, I see, same thing, Oklahoma State, I think only returned 3 guys from last year's team, which, was probably a blessing in disguise considering last year's team was not terribly successful. But you gotta give Coach Lutz a time. Last year was his first year, and this is more of his type of team, his type of players, and you can succeed the success that they've had today notwithstanding. So this is already a much more successful season. So now what will pain the Oklahoma State fans is now they got to cheer for OU to go and do well in the SEC to make this loss not hurt as bad down the stretch when you're trying to get into the NCAA tournament. And the Big 12 is a monster basketball conference. The Big 12 is ridiculously good in basketball. There are no easy matches. There are no easy games. And so, Oklahoma State's got to find a way to go out and get another 10 wins. And, we're headed right into that conference tournament time. Those 10 wins will then secure you a spot in the tournament. But outside of that, unfortunately, you got to hope for a team like OU who beat you today to have a good successful season so that this loss at the end of the season doesn't look like a bad loss. And I think OU's going to do that. I think OU's going to have some success. Mid-level SEC, I'm not sure they're quite to that top, but much like the football team, if they can dirty things up, if they can play that physical defense, and as the shooting goes, the team will go. But if you can dirty it up, play some defense, and keep guys from not hitting their open shots, you can win a lot of ball games that way too.
Oklahoma kind of reminds me with Porter Moser coaching as sort of the Wisconsin of the SEC basketball wise, because Wisconsin, man, they had a couple runs to the Final Four you didn't expect. In 1 year, they got to the final. It's just it's a team that's going to be dependent on its defense and its scrappiness. One thing that I think hurt the Cowboys today was the fact that Parsifala was neutralized pretty early. 10 minutes, 0 points. I saw him using a sort of a hammer gun on his pectoral area. Did you pay attention or did you hear what was wrong with him?
He was injured. That's all that I found out, that he got hurt, and maybe, not like a collision type of injury that I could tell. So I'm not 100% sure. All I know is that he did get injured. And they did have to pull him out of the game, and it wasn't worth it to try and risk a further compounding the injury to put him back in. And he was a big loss. I'm glad you brought that up. He was a big loss because he has been very, very strong inside the paint, not only in reboundings, but also putting balls back in the hoop, which Oklahoma State sorely lacked today. And so that injury did play a factor in the loss. However, you gotta dance with who brung you. And if that's your team, and if somebody gets hurt, the next guy's got to step up and take over that role. So it's not an excuse, it's just a factor, but it's certainly not an excuse. Oh, you fully deserve the win today, no matter what at the end of the day.
But there was impact.
Sure.
Rebounds, 46 for Oklahoma, 36 for OSU. So Oklahoma out-rebounded Oklahoma State by 10. So that played a factor.
That might be the first time Oklahoma State's been out-rebounded all year.
Yeah. It just historically, I don't know that Moser's OU teams have been known for rebounding as a strength. Although you would hope, it's just something I noticed. I was like, boy, they're really good on the boards today.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a big factor. Absolutely a big factor. But again, at the end of the day, you got to dance with who brung you. And if somebody gets hurt, somebody else got to step up, and it was a factor. And you have to hope, I certainly hope, that it's a minor situation, maybe a strain that they didn't want to become a sprain, something along those lines. And it's a long season, it's all practice till tournament time, really. You got to build that resume up. It can certainly factor, but if you get into the Big 12 tournament and you win the tournament, doesn't matter what you are, you advance. And so, you got to look long term on those kind of things. And even though Bedlam is very important, that conference season is actually more important for the long term.
100%. And as we grow Bedlam Buds, Bedlam Buds will probably get its own channels on vertical social and grow its own traditions. And one of those traditions is maybe what I suggested to you via text, sort of the Miami Hurricanes have a turnover chain. We should have a Bedlam chain.
Yeah.
And then anytime OU and OSU play, whether it be wrestling, football, basketball, tiddlywinks, tennis, you name it. Whoever wins for that next video gets to wear the chain.
Okay, absolutely, I'm in 100%.
All right, we'll have to find a chain on Amazon and agree on one, and then we'll just make that the Bedlam chain.
Okay.
Now, just a little note about what's next for both of these teams. This is the big coinky-dink. Both Oklahoma and Oklahoma State played the same team next. Do you know who it is?
ORU?
No, although good guess. Kansas City.
Okay, that's right. That's right. That's right.
So the
Kangaroos.
Sooners play, yeah, the Kangaroos. The Sooners get the Roos on Tuesday, and the Cowboys get the Roos on Thursday. Quick question for you, since you spent time in Australia as a young boy. Would you ever fight a kangaroo one-on-one?
Absolutely not. And remember, I worked at a zoo for 2 years. Absolutely not. No, no. No. No, no. People that think they could, they just don't understand that kangaroo's not gonna use these arms. He's gonna use his feet, and it's gonna gut you. Don't do it.
Okay.
Don't fight a kangaroo.
Don't fight. Right. Okay. So let's end on that note. A Bedlam victory for the Oklahoma Sooners. Boomer Sooner, everybody. Oklahoma comes away with an 85-76 win in Bedlam basketball. For Jeremy.
Win, lose, or draw, loyal and true, baby. Go Pokes.
Absolutely. That's what I love about the Cowboys. Number one, we're not in the top 25, but go Sooners, Boomer Sooner. Until next time, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel right here. We will still be on Oklahoma Memo. We'll just have a playlist, but go find us on Vertical Social, and I'm going to be creating Bedlam Buds accounts for us there. Until next time, we will talk to you later.